Welcome back. Russia has freed WNBA star Brittney Griner in a prison exchange between the U.S. and Russia. The U.S. released notorious Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. This came at a time of heightened tension over Ukraine, and it achieves a top goal for U.S. President Joe Biden. But it also came with a heavy price and leaves behind another American who's been jailed in Russia for nearly 4 years. For more on the story now, we're joined live by CTV's Richard Madden, who's been tracking these developments live from Washington, D.C. So, Richard, because of the war in Ukraine, there's been really no regular shuttle diplomacy happening. A lot of back-channel work for months. What changed to expedite things today?
Yeah, that is a really important and strong question, and I think we're going to get more details from the State Department and the National Security Council later today as more details came out. But it was a big stunner this morning. President Biden announcing that Brittney Griner has been freed from a Russian prison in exchange for that notorious arms dealer Viktor Bout, who's been serving a 25-year sentence here in the United States. The question now is another American who's in prison in Russia, Paul Whelan, still remains behind bars at a penal colony. So the question is, who will be exchanged to free him? We do know that U.S. diplomats were hoping a 2-for-1 prisoner swap. Brittney Griner and Paul Whelan in exchange for Viktor Bout. It looks like the Russians refused that prisoner swap, so it is just 1-for-1. Brittney Griner in exchange for Viktor Bout. Paul Whelan remains behind bars. But as I said earlier, we'll get more details as to what led to this surprise release of Brittney Griner, why it was announced today, why she is coming home today, what were the other circumstances surrounding this release, and what is the Biden administration looking to do to free Paul Whelan. So a big surprise this morning, a lot of celebrations at the White House. Brittney Griner's free. She should be arriving on U.S. soil at some point today, but there's still Paul Whelan, that high-profile American prisoner who remains behind bars in Russia.
And Bout's a bad dude, right?
Oh, yeah. He's a very bad dude, a notorious arms dealer who sold weapons to hostile regimes, including Afghanistan, countries in Africa. And he was apprehended trying to sell weapons to undercover CIA agents posing as Colombian drug lords. He was notorious in the 90s and early 2000s. He was arrested and charged back in 2011, serving a 25-year sentence. He's considered to some of the Russian far-right military folks a big hero, a big entrepreneur who's made a fortune selling weapons to hostile regimes. And now he's free. He will be back in Russia. It's unclear who else the Americans have in prison that the Russians might be interested in to swap with Paul Whelan.
His lucky day. Richard Madden, live for us from CTV News in Washington, D.C. Richard, thanks so much.